This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe from hackers. For example, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries, streaming services such as DAZN in Spain for those all-important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe if you use public Wi-Fi, such as a college or a cafe. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning that you can even share an account with friends and family. On top of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can even get your money back. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for just over €2 per month and up to 4 months free. Why not scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description to take advantage of this offer. What is up, my friends? How are we? And thank you so much for coming along and joining me for tonight's late night agenda. Aston Villa got the result at Stamford Bridge. Credit to them. Does that now put them in a title race? Well, you can't really rule them out, can you? That is a fantastic come-from-behind victory. The Reds, of course, we got our own victory today. Florian Wirtz off the mark with a goal as well. Good to see Mr. Ryan Gravenberch get on the score sheet. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the title of tonight's stream. And we'll talk about everything else that you guys want to discuss. It is, as always, your show, my friends, and appreciate you coming along. There was a comment that I want to read out to you at the very end of the stream today. And it's a comment that has both annoyed me and made me think. Let me read it out to you. So it was from an account of a regular viewer. And the regular viewer was, I am the Oyster King. You may remember that account. And they posted something and they said, I might change to a Man United channel to hear a compliment to our team. And it got me thinking. I'm never going to be a happy clapper. And I don't know in any way how I or anyone portrayed they weren't happy with a win today, because we all are happy with a victory today. But what I refuse to do, and what I will never do, is just come on and pretend like everything's great when it isn't. I'm never going to sit here and lie to the camera. So I banned that person, because if that's what they think they should be getting, well then they're with the wrong channel anyway. And that shouldn't be what they expect from me. Because a journalist here in Ireland wrote something, and this journalist is a very, very good journalist. His name's Gavin Cooney, and he writes for the 43, and he writes about Irish sport and lots of other things. But I think that Gavin has summarised Liverpool's situation in one sentence extremely well. Liverpool's is the worst run of good form I can remember. And that is exactly it. So what I am the Oyster King forgot to mention was that so many of us did say that we were grateful for the win. But we can't just come on here and pretend like everything is great, or that we haven't got concerns. I think as fans we have a duty to talk about these things. So make no mistake, if I do come across like I don't enjoy or celebrate a win, my apologies for that, because I do. 3 points means a lot to me. But you can still see that there are issues here, and big issues at play. I want to read you out an excerpt as well from something I took from The Echo, which I think is spot on. And let me read this out to you, and then you'll see if you agree with me on that one or not. And again, like I say about The Echo, I always will give them credit for some of the stuff that they do well. But let me just add this into the WhatsApp. It makes it easier for me to read. Bear with me. Bear with me, folks. Right. So I'm going to read this out. And I want you to see what you think. So, they started off talking about the game and the piece. And then they went on to say, time on the training pitch is usually scant at this time of the year. But some attention needs to be paid towards improving their defending. It's holding back the side from proper progress, even if the results haven't suffered much during a generally much improved December. Set-piece coach Aaron Briggs needs to see a big upturn in the new year. The goal from nothing suddenly led to a more nervy atmosphere which filtered down onto the pitch. The fear of shedding another 2-goal advantage clearly grips this team, and given it's happened 4 times already this term, it's easy to see why the worrying might strike once more. And I believe it was Mr. Paul Gorst that wrote that. And he's not wrong at all. You could see it. I can't hear the game because I watch it on mute so I don't get any copyright stuff. But I can see it in the crowd. I know what I felt. I know what my chat felt. So it's a very unique situation we find ourselves in as Liverpool fans at the minute. Because yes, we're happy with the points. But we know a horrendous performance or stuff not going our way could lead to another 2-3 losses like that. Because it isn't convincing what we're seeing. Now, there is one small thing that Mr. Gorst wrote that I would disagree a little bit with. And he said time of the training pitch is usually scant at this time of the year. Now, he did use the word usually, but we have had one game a week for 2 weeks. So Aaron Briggs and the coaches would have had a fair amount of time to work on these things. But we're so bad defending set pieces. Like, it's unfathomable to figure out how we've gotten this bad. Like, Connor sent me the stat earlier on today that I read out to you guys. I'll read it out again just in case you didn't see it at the time. And it was basically this. We've conceded 12 goals from set pieces this year and scored 3. Meaning we have a goal difference from set pieces of -9. Ladies and gentlemen, -9 is the worst in the Premier League. From top to bottom. And we're the defending champions. And we have conceded 9 more goals from set pieces than we've scored this year. And I don't know the solution. I can give you my take. But these guys are paid a lot of money to figure this out. And it isn't 1 game or 2 games. It's months now. And we look really, really vulnerable from a set piece. Because we were managing that game very well. The first half, we were playing with a bit of swagger. The goals were lovely. Some nice movement. The tempo was higher. Florian Wirtz looked like he was settling in. And everything looked like it was going in the right direction. Then we go in at 2-0. And we come out and we do something silly. And then a corner comes and we concede from it. And everything changes. So that is why I'm not always happy when we win. Because you can see that there's a vulnerability in this group right now. And how do you stop that vulnerability? Who leads that? Who's responsible for that? Is it our captain? Is it Konate? Is it the whole back four? Is it the set piece coach? Is it the zonal marking? There's so many things that have Liverpool fans petrified at the minute. It's weird because we are in a run of unbeaten in 7. But it just feels like nobody's convinced by what they're seeing. But Craig, even those of us who are not ready for Slot to be sacked know everything isn't rosy. Maybe we're just more patient and are willing to give him the season. I've no problem with that, Stu. Like, you and I have had this interaction, bro, loads of times. And we disagree on a few things. We agree on a few things. And I've no problem with people wanting to be patient. What I do have a problem with is overly praising stuff that doesn't deserve to be overly praised. Like, I keep coming back to what James Pearce said the other day, and in no way in my head does that resemble any type of reality from the situation that we're seeing out there on the pitch. There has been no silencing, no quashing of the doubters, no muting of the people who were speaking out against the manager. There hasn't been. And what I can tell you is that behind the scenes, they're not that happy either. Now, I couldn't get the second source to confirm what I wanted to say tonight, so I'm going to have to be somewhat careful in what I do say and how I say it. But everything is not rosy behind the scenes. And if you want my opinion, and remember the word in this is opinion, I think that Arne Slot won't be the Liverpool manager come the end of the season. Come, let's say, July. I don't think Arne's the Liverpool coach. It's going to take a miracle to the extent of a Champions League win to keep him in a job. That's my understanding. Take from that what you want, but that is my understanding and that is my prediction. I don't think he will be sacked mid-season. I don't. But I don't for 1 second believe that everything is as rosy as is trying to be painted out behind the scenes at the club. And I'm hearing it from not 1, not 2, not 3, but multiple different people, although there are some variations on certain things. One of the things that I'm not sure about, and I really don't know this, is has there been a disagreement between Hughes, Edwards and Slot over the Semenyo situation. I really don't know. I have no idea what's going on there. Haven't got a clue. Lee said, this is nonsense. Why exactly should he leave? Who, the manager? Because it's not good enough, Lee. So, you've said it's nonsense and you said, why is he going to leave? Now, I'm going to take the time to respond to you, bro, and do my best at it. But I'd appreciate if you could come back with me and tell me why you should stay. Because we won the league and now we're in 4th place, which is great. I'm very happy to be back up there. It's better than 12th. But I'm not seeing progression, Lee. I'm not seeing a style. I'm not seeing players who look fit for a full 90 minutes. I'm seeing a manager who's still playing favourites with underperforming players. So I don't know why you think it's ridiculous. He overseen the worst run of results in Liverpool in over 100 years, in some of it. And this is the easy run, bro. Let's not take this out of context. This is the easy run. And in the easy run, we've been beaten 3-0. We've been beaten 4-1. We've gone life and death with a couple of teams. We got a 3-3 draw at Leeds when we should have won the game. We had a game against Brighton at home that we won 2-0. But if they had their shooting boots on, it could have been very different. There's a divide in the dressing room. Salah's come and spoken out publicly. He's absolutely blanking Chiesa. So please, again, do tell me how it's ridiculous. Because it isn't. What's ridiculous is that anybody thinks that a team with the quality that Liverpool have assembled shouldn't be where Aston Villa are, where Man City are, where Arsenal are. That was the aim, that was the goal, that was the standard. So I don't think it's ridiculous at all, mate. I think what is ridiculous is that we as a fan base are petrified that we don't know what's going to come from one game to the next. And we don't know the style. We don't know what he's trying to do. We don't know the instructions to the players. None of this is clearly visible to us, mate. So I'm trying my best here, Lee. I don't want to jump down your throat, but I've given you my response and I truly would appreciate yours. Oh, and also, Amanari said, please stop. How about you can just leave the channel and I'll continue to say whatever I want. So whatever you think about what I'm saying, I'm telling you now that it isn't rosy behind the scenes. I'm telling you that as a matter of fact. So take from it what you want. But that's where it is. That's where I'm at. That's where the situation's at. That's where the club's at. If you want to just sit there, pretend everything's rosy and clap and enjoy it, cool. You be you. But just don't come in and be condescending to the rest of us and think that we're not entitled to an opinion as well. Pranav, 55 months. Wow. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Craig, it's clear Slot is not the man for Liverpool long term. All about scraping top 4 this season or it'll be a disaster. The football is awful. Honestly, I don't think Slot is the man long term, said Red as well. I don't think he's the man long term either. I don't. But look, I've spelled out my reasons numerous times. But rather than spend the entire stream talking about the manager, because we could do this back and forth, I want to talk about the January window. And I want to talk about what's coming up soon. Because Manchester City are making their move. They're getting Semenyo in. And Manchester City Extras account posted this earlier on. Antoine Semenyo wants his Manchester City transfer completed by January the 1st. Sources indicate that Bournemouth may want to forward to play against Arsenal and Spurs ahead of his release clause deadline on the 10th of January. But Semenyo is keen for a swift conclusion with formal steps expected in the next 48 hours. And that comes via Sami Mokbel of the BBC. So they're getting a push on. And they've identified the man they want and they're going out there to get Semenyo. I don't know a Liverpool fan that doesn't think we need a centre-back. And the indications are that we're going to be in for a quiet January based off a lot of what has been put out there. Now, you tell me how we can be serious about really wanting to achieve stuff this year when we have one centre-back whose future is unknown with 6 months to go, and his form has been up and down. The other centre-back we have has a hamstring injury and has a history of injuries at the club. Giovanni Leone is a youngster that we've seen all of 85 minutes of, an impressive 85 minutes nonetheless. And then we've got a 34-year-old Virgil van Dijk. So basically, we're going through the season with Virgil and a defender who we don't know if he wants to be here or not. And that's it. That's it. They're the options until Gomez is back. So the fact that it isn't in every headline of every newspaper, on every forum, that Liverpool need a defender and nothing else will be acceptable is shocking to me. It's shocking because what are we doing? The situation isn't going to get any better if we don't bring in a reinforcement or two. Centre-back were threadbare. Threadbare. And then we're going to start picking up more injuries. And then the injuries are going to cause more frustrations. This is what I'm saying. These are all the little things that add up to become bigger things in my mind. And on that, that's not solely down to the manager by any stretch of the imagination. Messrs Hughes and Edwards are every bit as culpable for that. Like, I don't know who left it so late to try to get Mark A in the summer. I don't know the answer to that question. But I know it didn't work out, and the knock-on effect has been that we have no competition at centre-back, no ability to rotate. That's what I know. Let's be honest here. We've gone from relegation form to relegation performances, but scraping iffy results. It's not good enough. Pure and simple. No January transfers is ludicrous. Lads, we played the worst team, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this because statistically it's true, the worst team at this point in the history of the Premier League today. And went life and death at the end. 2-1. Scraped it. Did we look like a third at any point, really? Let's be honest. No. They had a couple of opportunities, not clear-cut ones. The worst team in the history of the Premier League. We scraped by a goal. And before the game I said, this is a game we should be winning. And it's a game I think we will win. But we have to win it convincingly. And we didn't. And that's why I was disappointed at the end of it. Because yeah, we got the 3 points. And that looks good on the league table. And it's certainly doing our season no harm. But the performances are not living up to expectation by a long, long way. 2 finals lost. Sent out 3 cups in 7 months. Well, look, personally, I don't consider the Community Shield a trophy. I don't, but I get your point. There's so many little things that have wound me up, like I said. Go back from April, March to now, and it's never been consistent. You know, and we asked for consistency from most things in football. Well, I'd like some consistency of performance from the manager. Arne loves rotating to not risk injuries, and we only have 2 centre-backs that will have to play every single game if we don't sign one in January, said that meme guy. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense. Even just thinking about it from certain basic perceptions, it doesn't make sense. Like, let me throw out a hypothetical situation to you. Let's say we're sitting here January the 20th, January the 21st, and Konate hasn't signed that yet. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think the media are going to be writing about? What do you think Spanish papers, Italian papers, German papers are going to be writing about? Konate's future, Konate's lack of commitment to the club, Konate wanting to go elsewhere. And even if that is all bullshit, and he really does want to stay, we've already seen that that will impact his performances. So we haven't managed to get that situation tied down at all. And we've known we've got bare bones centre-backs for months now. And they haven't been able to get Konate to tie down to a new deal. That is another worrying thing. Because that means we've got more work to do in the summer. A summer, like I would like to say, is a shorter summer because of the World Cup, where players are going to have very little downtime anyway, very little time on the training pitch. So everything points to January being the sensible time to go get your centre-backs. Lots of new players need time to gel. We definitely need a centre-back. Konate's had his head turned. If we had got Gay, we'd at least be 6 points better off. So you know the trying time to gel thing. There's something to that. There is something to that. But have you noticed how we've been winning some games lately? It is true the individual talent and brilliance of these guys rather than the system and the manager's tactical ability. So let's look at the goal today from Florian Wirtz. None of that was system-based. It was to do with a brilliant little drop of the shoulder, a lovely slide rule ball, and a nice finish from Wirtz. That's not down to the system. What's our position in the Champions League? I don't know. I can't remember. We're 9th or 10th. So we're in and around where we want to be. And if we win the last 2 games, I'd be very confident we'll get our asses into the top 8. We're away at Marseille, and that's going to be a tricky game. And then we've got Karabag at home, which you would hope will be a win. So there's a chance we could get ourselves into the top 8. And that gives you 2 games less because you don't have to play the playoff round. And there's another worrying trend that lots of people have brought up to me. It's that how do we look so unfit? So many of our players look fatigued and aren't able to see out minutes. Now, Ekitike, I can understand. You're coming into a new league, you're going to take time. Wirtz, I can understand. But the likes of Maka and others who are struggling when we're doing less running than we were before. Something just doesn't smell, feel, taste, touch right here. So where are we? We are 9th in the Champions League table. So top 8 is Arsenal at the top, then Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, Atalanta, Inter, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and then it's Liverpool, Dortmund, Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea. So we have a great chance if we win our last 2 games. 4 points might do it, but if you win the last 2 games, you're going to be in the top 8 of the Champions League, and that'll do us tickety-boo. That'll be grand. I'm going to ask you a question on a poll. So, one sec. So this might seem like a really silly question, and it might be. But I'm going to ask, is the result all that matters to you? Genuinely, because this is one of the things that we go back and forth on as fans here when we're chatting. But we won. And I'm always happy when we won. Always. You'll never say no to 3 points. And of course, I'd rather win playing poorly than lose playing poorly. But you need to see that there is gears to go through. And that when we do face better opposition, we will raise our game. We will get there. So for me, it's more than results for this manager at the minute. Because the results we've seen in the past has glossed over some of the performances and given us almost a warning of what was to come. First 5 games unbeaten. Won them all. And hand on heart, I thought we were going to stroll to the league title. I thought it would click. And I wasn't sure we were playing great football, but I did think it would get better from there. And I honestly thought we'd stroll to the league title. When the players with the calibre that we brought in started to click, I thought, wow, we're going to be untouchable here. But I was wrong. I was so very wrong. And even though now we're in this nice run, and you'll never ever moan about 5 wins from 7, I'm not convinced, not by a long way. And I do think that there are potential bigger blips around the corner. So I guess the question comes down to, what were your expectations for the season? And what are your expectations for the season now? And have they changed? Because mine, well, they've had to change. The expectation was, I want to retain the league title. I want to try to win the Champions League. And I wanted to go deep in the domestic cups. Because I was told as a fan that that's why this squad was being assembled. To go deep, to challenge everywhere, to try to become a dominant force domestically. Hasn't happened. So then you're starting to say, okay, well, what is a decent season? Well, of course, Champions League qualifications are minimal. When you're a club of their size, with the players we have, and the commitments you have financially, you need that. But if we end the season in 3rd or 4th place and have no trophy to show for it, there's not one fibre of my body that thinks that that's a good season. Not one. That is a we got away with it season rather than there's anything to be positive about. You don't get to go backwards as a manager and be talked about as it being successful. You won the league. You won the league. You and the transfer committee then made conscious decisions on what to do with the staff, who to bring in, who to let go. You made those decisions. And those decisions haven't improved us. We're not 1, 2 or 3 games into a season. We're almost at the halfway point. So, are we getting better? The answer is no. We're no better than we were at our best last season. Could we get better? Yes. But that's where it comes into the faith in the coaching again, and that's where I'm struggling. Craig, Villa today kept attacking whilst in the lead. Liverpool's problem is they're being passive when they're up with the goals. So I did manage to watch the second half of the Villa-Chelsea game. I didn't see the first half. From what I could judge from the commentary, Chelsea bossed the first half and should have been further ahead. But you're damn right in what you said. When Villa went 2-1 up, they went looking for that third. And they didn't stop. And I don't know what the mindset is at 2-0. And I don't know what the instruction is to Liverpool's players at 2-0. But what we know is when we get to 2-0, it becomes an issue. And there's some mental barrier or block or something that's in there that is causing anxiety everywhere. Because it's almost a formality that the third goal in a game when we go up 2-0 up ain't going to be one of ours. And that leads to feelings like today where you've won the game, but you still feel somewhat unsure. Lucas said, I'm just tired with Slott's excuses and man management. I've not been a fan of a lot of what he said in interviews, but, you know, I do know managers talk bollocks in interviews a lot of the time because they have to try to put forward a positive perspective. The man management thing. So let's play a game. Who was the worst player on the pitch today for Liverpool? And I'm not asking this because I want to run down a player, but I want to just see something. Who was the worst player on the pitch today for Liverpool, in your opinion? And I'm asking you, and I'll give you the context for it in a minute. So let me know who you think was the worst player. Konate, Ibu, Konate, Ibu, Konate, Frimpong. Charlotte said Chiesa, Konate, Maka, Chiesa, Konate. So I think it's fair to say most of you have said Konate. Would that be fair? Most of you have said Konate. Let me read this out to you. Federico Chiesa on the Echo got 5 out of 10. And here was the reasoning. Caught someone with a flailing arm while involved in the first goal and struggled to make any sort of considered impact on the right flank. Subbed. That was the reason why he was given a 5 out of 10 and was given the lowest score. No context of it being his first full start. No context of him getting up to speed, nothing. Just Chiesa bad, manager doesn't like Chiesa bad, let's toe that line. Ibrahima Konate got a 6 out of 10. Defending on the front foot and read rare Wolves sorties in the first half. Beaten, however, for the build-up to Wolves' goal. Konate got a higher score than Chiesa, and no talk of his absolute horrendous performance again. See what I'm talking about? Bullshit. It does my head in. How are you give Konate a 6? How are you giving Konate a 6? Come on. And Chiesa a 5. And by the way, 5 was the lowest score they gave. Chiesa got that. That's nonsense. And look, I would say I actually don't think Chiesa had a great game. But there has to be context to it. You know, did he have the impact we would have hoped? Probably not, no. I think that's fair enough. But he hasn't played. And he was taken off the pitch then, understandably. I got the substitution, no problem with that. But to be scapegoated with, and it's like Liverpool star, I can't remember the headline on it. Let me read you the headline, actually. I'll find it for you. The headline on what they said and the whole piece. Liverpool player ratings as Florian Wirtz leads Reds to Wolves win, but 5 out of 10 star struggles. How did I rate both players? It's a good question. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head what I rated both players, to be honest with you. I think I want to say I gave Konate a 4.5 or a 5. And I think I gave Chiesa a 5.5 or a 6. I think. Even that pass from Flo was individual, not system. Exactly. A lot of the good stuff that we're seeing are coming from moments of quality from the good players that we have. What I did enjoy, though, was Frimpong. I really did enjoy Jeremy Frimpong today. I thought that he was... So it was 4.5 I gave Ibu, said Keane, and 6.5 for Fede. So there you go. I had a 2-point differential between the two of them. 4.5 for Ibu and 6.5 for Fede. And look, you can say I was a 0.5 point too generous for Fede, but I put the context in of him having not played and not being in a rhythm compared to those around him. You gave Wirtz 8.5. Yes, I know I gave Wirtz that. Wirtz deserved it. Wirtz was man of the match. Absolutely sublime. Thought he was phenomenal today. Just class personified. Loved it. Yeah, but anyway, to get back to if I must say 6.5 was generous in my opinion, and I'm fully open to that feedback, mate. Absolutely. 6 was probably a fairer score for Chiesa, but like I said, I did need to give the context of the fact he'd been frozen out, but I fully appreciate your feedback and take it on board. So back to Frimpong, sorry. I thought Frimpong was brilliant. What I loved so much about Jeremy today was the variation of his attacks. It wasn't all going one side or the other. He mixed it up. His first touch of control was very good, and he really, really held the width so well. There was one particular moment, forgive me, I can't remember who switched it, but somebody played the diag from left to right, and Frimpong was all the way on the touchline, had to bring it down on his chest, control it and pass it off quick, and then I think he made a move down the line. I thought he was brilliant. Really, really good. That's so encouraging from him if we can get that going forward. His ball back and the looking up of the run for Gravenberch, top notch as well. And that was brilliant. Brilliant from Jeremy today. So yeah, I want to single him out for some praise as well, because I thought he was everything that was good about us in the first half. I thought he was one of the factors in it, along with Wirtz as well. Nessie said, I still feel hurt that we threw up a domestic cup. And it's going to hurt even more when we sit back now and watch the semi-finals be played over the next month or whenever it is. Yeah, it's going to hurt sitting back and watching that, because I know people don't rate the League Cup highly, and I do understand that. But the goodwill and the positivity that it puts around a fan base when you're a game or two away from Wembley, and, you know, at a time when we need positivity, I felt like it was just a silly decision to throw away that competition. DJ Dynamite, or DJ Dynamite. That's a cool name, actually, Dynamite. Well in, man, well in. The shape is abysmal. It's been like that since the start of the season. Even when we were winning something, not right. VVD hasn't been far behind Konate with his performances too. And I would agree with you on that. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It hasn't been Virgil's best season at all. So that's a fair statement as well. I don't know if this is unfair, but I'm getting really annoyed at Ibrahim Konate. Really, really, really annoyed at him for so many reasons. Like, to turn around to the crowd today and gesture to them that he wanted more and to get up and make noise. How about win your fucking duels? How about don't go down on the ground and allow the header that caused the goal? How about doing that, Konate? And then you'll get the crowd up. He seems deluded. And the reports that were coming out from the other day suggesting that his camp had been back in touch with Real Madrid is a worrying one, if true. And this comes from Dean Jones of ESPN. And Dean Jones said it's believed that Ibrahim Konate's intermediaries have been working to get a Real Madrid move back into the picture. That's a concern to me. Because Liverpool are having the piss taken out of them again by another player. And apparently we're all just supposed to sit here and take it. It just feels wrong. The whole situation feels wrong. Salah, Virgil played for their new contract. Obviously, Konate isn't. The whole Konate situation is just reminding me of Trent all over again. It feels like there's a number that he wants from Liverpool that doesn't feel realistic. And it's almost like, well, I have other options then. I don't get it. I've never understood how we're so weak-willed in this situation, or so polite, or so nice, or whatever the hell you want to use to describe it. Because where's the commitment from the player? Like I said, Trent never once came out and said, there's a number, we're working towards that number, I want to stay here. It's not that hard for Konate to say, I love Liverpool Football Club, I want to commit my future here, but the numbers have to work. But he's not. And it's, again, what isn't being said is what we should be concerned about. Don't be naive again. Don't let the Trent situation happen 2.0 and all just kind of feel like, oh, well, sure, he's a good guy and he might want to do this. Like, no, come on. If he wanted to stay, it'd have been sorted out by now. Elks said, I bought a Liverpool shirt around the beginning of December. I've worn it every match since then, unbeaten. I'll keep wearing it. Definitely need a centre-back in January. Good man. I'm not into superstitions personally, but you do you, bro. And if it's working, you keep cracking on with it. What is Konate waiting for? I don't get it. So from what I can gather, there's a number. I don't know what that number is, but there's a number that he thinks he's warranting of. I'm going to go back to a Lewis Steele report. Bear with me while I find it, because I'm going back quite a few days here. And basically, the extent of the report was because I don't know if I can find it now. Is this it? One sec. No. Was that Konate wants to be on top Liverpool salary money. He wants to be paid as one of the senior higher earning pros at the club. A Virgil van Dijk type of pay structure. That's what's, again, not saying that this is a fact, but that's what's doing the rounds, and that's what the journalists have been reporting. Now, if he wants Virgil van Dijk wages with the performances he's putting in, there shouldn't even be a conversation. There shouldn't be. And if I'm Liverpool and a player, and I've put down a decent offer, because I've no doubt Liverpool would have put down a reasonable offer. I think he's on about 85. So I would imagine Liverpool's offer is probably 150-ish, somewhere like that. If he's not biting their hand off for that, that should tell Liverpool everything they need to know. Because they ain't going to cave to his demands. And this is another one of those battle for hearts and minds situations. Which who comes out cleaner, PR-wise. And does anybody think that Konate's worth 200 grand a week even? Anybody at all think he's worth 200 grand a week? I like him. He's been a part of our success over the years. And I've said this many times. I'd rather he stayed than didn't stay. But this situation can't go on indefinitely. And at some point we have to just draw a line under it and move on. Because if we want to win stuff this season, the last thing I want is a player who's not going to be here in 6 months being a pivotal part of our defence. Because what happens? Let me tell you what happens. In the adult world, not in the happy clappy, kumbaya, let's all sit around and, form a drum circle. This is what happens in the real world. Player has 6 months to go on his deal, and he knows he ain't renewing it. And he knows there's a World Cup coming up. The fuck is he going through the pain barrier and breaking his ass for the team? Ain't happening. He's not going to sacrifice an injury for the World Cup, and he's not going to fuck up any potential move after that. That's human nature. That's what's going to happen. If he signs the deal, cool, it's all done. But he isn't going to. Doesn't look like he's going to. It's not done yet. And if the next 6 months of the season are done with this hanging over our heads, that's what's going to happen. His performances will get worse. And eventually then he'll go to the World Cup and he'll head off to his new club, having not given 100% effort at the end of the season for us. And I said it about Trent, and I'll say it again. It gets in their heads. Even if it's subconscious, they're not going to put themselves through the pain barrier. They're not going to play through a twinge. They're not going to do the things that they would do if they were trying to prove something, win something, or do something. And let's make it even worse. What happens if in January you hear that he signed for Bayern Munich and that he's going to Bayern Munich at the end of the season? You going to feel comfortable with that man being your only other centre-back to Virgil for the rest of the year? I haven't. I want players who want to play for a fucking football club. And players who understand what it means to wear the badge. And players who are proud to wear the badge. And want to continue to wear the badge. Barlbad said, winning ugly is one thing, but being the instrument of our own near downfall each game is madness. 2-0 up seems to be a curse. It is weird talking about 2-0 being... there is a joke in there somewhere because, of course, 2-0 is often described as the most dangerous lead in football, but for us it seems to be almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that we won't score the third. I want Gay in January, but owners are too cheap to make sure we get him. So, okay. So I said to you that my understanding is that Slot's future is far from secure come the end of the season. I can't give you the second part of this yet, because I need the second source. But there are two or three people who are credible potential alternative to Slot shall he leave. And I have some information on one that I can't give to you yet because I haven't got a second source on it. But let's just say there won't be any issues around the availability of this person. Liverbird Army said, Chiesa only gets last 5 or 10 minutes in a game. He needs more minutes to get in form. Konate never gets dropped and he's useless. Not good enough. It's going to be really interesting now to see what happens against Leeds. Does he put Chiesa back in the team? Or do we see Cody Gakpo come back in to take that spot? So let's wait and see on that one. Because no player, whether you're Fede, Chiesa or anybody else, no player is going to be brilliant if they're not playing regularly. You need rhythm. So if you're going to judge Fede, judge him off 5, 6, 7 games. Someone said, is it you, Craig? I wouldn't wish that on anyone, lads. Jeez, I don't want to be the man to relegate Liverpool. Compare the ratings on Wirtz's opening games for Liverpool to Chiesa's rating today. Be more telling. What's the betting that Wirtz isn't scapegoated? I don't know the ratings, but I wouldn't be surprised if you were right. I wouldn't be at all. Nothing will change my mind about Slot. This is the most boring Liverpool I've seen. Look, we did a poll the other day, and the question was, do you find Liverpool style boring? And it was 82, 83% said yes. So even people that like wanted the manager kept in, most people was like, yeah, it's boring. It is boring. So the question that we have running at the minute, and we'll let it run a little bit more because we're nearly at 1,500 votes, is the result all that matters to you? And I had to think about this myself, because if you ask me this question down the pub or over a coffee, you know what? I'm probably going to be a hypocrite and I'm probably going to say to you, yes, the result is all that matters to me. But this season I've kind of learned that no, it isn't. And this is where I'll say I am a hypocrite. Because normally I would say, yeah, the result is all that matters. A win is a win is a win. You've heard me say that phrase many, many times. But that's when you win the occasional scruffy game. This feels like everything is a bit scruffy. And scruffy is the new identity more than anything else. So for the first time now, I'm definitely off the side of no, a win isn't just good enough. Results aren't just good enough. Because I can still see a way where flaws can come back in very quickly. And I can still see a way that 2-3 losses can come around very quickly again. Because I don't feel that the mentality of the team has been fixed. Kyle said, poll maybe. If Slot wins no trophies but we make Champions League again, do we sign an extension with him or look to replace him? Yeah, I'll do that for you, mate. Let me just... We 20 votes to go on this one, and then we'll be there. This one from Rich Baldy. Hi, Rich Baldy to poor Baldy. Said, Craig, how many 90-minute games has VVD and Konate played consecutively? Just curious about that stat. I wouldn't know, bro, but a lot. A lot. Out of necessity. Now, you can also say that it speaks very well to their durability, because one of the things in the first couple of years Konate was at the club was he seemed to pick up a lot more muscle strains and fatigues, and to his credit, that seems to be less so. And their durability has been, whether we think the performances have been good enough or not, that durability has been a blessing to us this year. Because, if Konate was out for 3 months or Wirtz was out for 2 months, we'd be screwed. About your poll, if you're a team battling relegation, then it's only results that matter for the manager. But for Liverpool, performances are just as important. And especially, mate, when you've got Wirtz, Ekitike, Isak, Salah, McAllister, Soboslai, Gravenberch, Alisson Becker. You're working with quality there. So you expect to see that quality on the pitch. Right, we've got over it, and 67%, 66, 67, which one did it end up at? 1 second. So 67% said no, the result is not all that matters. And 33% said yes. So let me ask the poll that Kyle wanted. So bear with me while I type this out. Okay. Sorry, folks, I'm still typing this out. And last option. Right, so I kind of took a bit of poetic license with your question, Kyle. And I said, if we win no cup but get Champions League qualification, what happens? So that's what I'm going to ask you. What happens? Let Slot see out his final year, because after this season he has 1 year left on his contract. Sack him in the summer or give him a new deal. So what would... Again, I know there's a bit of poetic license with that one, Kyle, but I think it's on the right train or tram or track to what you were asking. Because remember, there was talk of him getting a contract extension early doors this season. That the club were in negotiations with Arne about extending his contract. That's gone very quiet, hasn't it? Because can you imagine if they gave Arne Slot a new deal right now? Tomorrow morning you wake up and Arne signed a new 4-year deal at the club. How are you going to feel about that? Because best case scenario, it works out and everyone's happy. But worst case scenario, he gets fired and it costs the club even more money to get rid of him and the staff. At the minute, he is this season and the next season on his contract. And then his contract to be up. He was given a 3-year deal when he joined. Right, let's get through some of these. Bossman said Konate new deal should be 100k a week only. So I think, I've always said, mate, I'm probably in the 130 to 150 range for Konate. Because I don't think this will be his last contract either, his last big contract. Because he'll have another one, let's say he signs a 4-year deal. In another 2 to 2.5 years, he's probably going to get another one. And if he's playing well then, and he's proven it, then give him his Van Dijk money. But I do think the reason Van Dijk and Mo got their big deals was consistency of performance and elitism over season on season, and that was rewarded with the recognition at the level of football stardom that they've reached. I don't put Konate in that bracket yet. Not by quite a way. Gio said, I'm sorry, I just got here. What's the news? It depends what you mean by what's the news, mate. So, if you're talking, let me talk to a few things. So, there are some discussions in fan forums and between Liverpool fans, and I don't know anything on this, but there are some conversations that suggest that there is a rift between Slot and Hughes/Edwards over Semenyo, and one wanting, one not wanting. I don't know if there's that into that, but that is being mentioned. My own bit that I can say is that my understanding is, unless something extremely drastic happens in a positive way, like a Champions League win, that the manager will lose his job in the summer. I can't go into the next part that I'd like to say to you because I'm going to need a second source on it and I don't have one yet and I don't want to go with that. But search that up for yourself and you'll see more conversation around it. I'll tell you what actually got me to look into this and try to find out about it. There was an account on X and someone sent me a screenshot of it. Now, I don't know the person that runs this account. I don't know the credibility of this account. I know nothing about this account. Nothing. But it is what led me to start asking some questions. So, I'll read it out in its entirety. It says, manager update. And the account is called Wilson Cox LFC. At LFC Cox 88728. If you're on X. As I said, I don't know this account. Not saying good, bad, or indifferent. Know nothing about it. Manager update. Hearing Arne Slot was on the brink of sack following the PSV defeat, but after assessing interim options, the club held off. Sources indicate that, barring something drastic like reaching the Champions League final, Slot is already aware that he will be relieved of his duties at the end of the season, potentially framed as mutually consent out of respect. This run of form and results is not acceptable. Goes on to talk about potential successors, and I can't speak to any of the names on this list because I don't have that information. But what they write is, Alonso remains the dream, sees Anfield as his destination, but Man City hold serious interest and are willing to meet almost any demand, would require Real Madrid sacking him for availability. Then he moves on to Julian Nagelsmann. Attainable post-World Cup, though weighing the risk of missing pre-season. Chelsea have made more progress than Liverpool with the potential of Maresca maybe going to City. On top of that, they said Matthias Jaissle, spelled Jaissle. I know nothing about this guy, so please help me out in the chat. Impressed massively in initial talks and is highly regarded internally, cannot be ruled out. Cesc Fabregas held talks but made clear he wants flexibility to join Barcelona and prefers Man City. And then there was Luis Enrique speculation, family settled in Paris, extension offered and likeliest outcome. If he moves, prefers Liverpool to City if equal. As I said, I can't stand over anything that they've written because I don't know that account or the person behind it. But it did lead me to go and ask my own questions. And my own questions, the answers I was getting back weren't too far removed from the first part of his post about him coming quite close to being sacked and that barring a miracle of a drastic turnaround, it will happen in the summer. That's that's where my current information is. I do have something on a replacement, but I can't talk about it yet because I don't have enough information on it. But all those names listed there, none of them are the name that I can't talk about. None of the ones we went through in that post. Esther said, we have an advantage over Man City for Alonso. His name is Florian Wirtz. Yeah, do you know what's mad though? Do you think Enzo Maresca is going to last the season? at Chelsea. I was thinking about this earlier on. I don't know if he is or not. He's been highly regarded at Manchester City. They do think very highly of Enzo Maresca, but do you reckon he sees it? Like, it's a weird one because they won the Conference League. He won the Club World Cup. They're currently, what, 5th in the league now? Beaten at home today. But it's been very up and down and inconsistent with Maresca. And that Chelsea are a club that are quite reactionary at times in that manner. So I wouldn't say he'd be sacked at the majority of clubs. But at Chelsea, I don't know. I wonder, will he be fired this season? What do you guys think on that one? Do you think he sees it out? So Slot is essentially guaranteed to leave. Well, I did say if he wins something big like the Champions League, that could change the equation. But you got to because if you win the Champions League, you're not going to fluke it. You would have had to have put together a string of good performances to get there and win it. But like an FA Cup as an example, I don't think that would be enough. And a 4th place or a 3rd place finish. Where are we at? Kevin said, can we have a talk about how good Wirtz is? Oh, please, yes, Kevin, please. Oh, do you remember, Kevin? You probably do remember this. I remember saying, I'm going to look forward to the rubbing in of the I told you so to the Wirtz doubters because it's starting to happen now. And yeah, I can't wait because so many, and I'm not talking about Liverpool fans here, by the way, because most of us were maybe some frustration, but you could see it. But to all the other clubs' fans who were dishing out abuse and talking about us wasting money, the I told you so is going to be sweet, bro. It's going to be sweet because Wirtz is starting to click now, and you can even see the confidence growing in him. The dude's an absolute superstar. And, anybody I know that's been to the games, watched them up close as well, just keep the same thing keeps coming back. You know the way the greats always play the game a second or 2 seconds ahead of everybody else? He has that vibe about him. He knows what he's doing before he gets the ball. He knows what's going to happen here and doing this. I love watching him and I could watch him all day. He's the type of footballer that would make me fall in love and did make me fall in love with football. That and pacey direct wingers. Slot made Wolves look good in the second half. Some people are trying to say we won the game, shut up. But, you're not wrong. We made statistically the worst team in the history of the Premier League at this point look decent. It should have been a massacre out there. When we went 2-0 up, we should have won that game 4 or 5-0. But whatever happened, they came out with a different intent in the second half, and we looked rocky from the start. And once the goal came, the nerves kicked in. Didn't sign a winger because we didn't want to block Rio's progress. What progress? I've asked that question, Aaron, my friend, many times. Because I don't see the upside of what we're doing with Rio Engamoa for anyone. Like, if he's training with the first team, great. But how are we developing him at the moment? I don't know how we are. Because he's not getting youth game time. He's not getting first team game time. So how is he supposed to progress if he's not given the game time? So all that we know as Liverpool fans is that in the one moment that he's had this year where pressure was on his young shoulders and a moment came his way, he lived up to the moment, put the ball in the back of the net, showed extreme confidence with the finish against Newcastle, where many ex-pros and many people said would have taken a touch, but he didn't. He delivered, we won, and that should have been the launch pad for Rio Engamoa. but it wasn't. So your blocking a pathway is the PC answer of saying we cheaped out and didn't bring in a replacement for Diaz. Because if we think that exceptionally high of Rio, why isn't he playing? You can't write off an entire year having no left winger option just in case Rio comes good. Put him on the pitch and show that he's coming good. Slot cherry picking stats about that he's had the most minutes of any 17-year-old in the Premier League this year. So what? He's supposed to be the next great thing. Yamal was getting plenty of game time at 17. Rooney was getting plenty of game time at 17. Owen was getting plenty of game time at 17. And yet this kid shows in that big moment that he has the wherewithal to do what needed to be done. The poise, the control, the class. We fought so hard to get him from Chelsea. And now the kid's sitting there. Didn't even get a minute today again. It's surely fucking damaging his confidence somewhat. Matthias Yassel is decent, Craig. Who does he coach? That probably sounds like a really silly question, but I know nothing about the man. Who does he coach? To be fair, Rooney and Owen were wrecked with injuries later on, but I get what you mean. Yes and no. Rooney probably could have lived a better lifestyle off the pitch, and that may have prolonged his career a bit. And Owen was one of those explosive players that when you start getting hammies and stuff like that, and you lose the explosiveness, it can have a big impact for sure. But you can still manage the player's workload. I'm not saying that Rio Ingimoa should be playing 50 games this season. But 12 minutes in the last 12 or 13 games doesn't seem like you really trust this young guy to come through. You know? 2-0 up today, like I said, I would have loved to have seen him brought on. And even at 2-1, I'd have loved to have seen him brought on and just told, sit in the halfway line. Just stand on the halfway line. When they attack, and they will, and we clear it, one of the lads will find the ball into the channel for you, and we back your pace to get through and kill off the game. That's what I wanted to see. And even in other games when we're 2-3-0 up, he still doesn't give him any minutes. It just seems like it's a weird situation for Rio. IFI Mustard, Craig, would you say that you're in a place where you're happy with the signings we've made this summer and the confidence with Edwards and Hughes and co? I think they're two different questions. So, am I happy with the signings that we did make this summer? Yes, I am. I don't regret any of them. I do feel there was one or two that should have been done on top of what was done. And I do think Hughes and co are responsible for the failures in that regard. But I don't have buyer's remorse on the players we brought in. I think we've been unlucky with the Isak situation. But the rest of them, today I started to see how we can utilise Frimpong. So no, I have no buyer's remorse on any of the signings we've made. I have remorse about not replacing Diaz with an adequate option. And I have remorse about not getting in a centre back. That I will say I'm annoyed about. And with Hughes and Edwards and co, I think time will tell is the answer to that question. Time will tell. Pulling off the coup that they did to bring in the likes of Wirtz, that definitely does deserve credit. But I'd love to know why we didn't get a centre back and why it was left so late. Like, I'd love somebody to explain the thought process there. Rio isn't ready to play in this current squad. then Rio should have been loaned out, shouldn't he? And we should have brought in a player. And that's the point. You know, I'm absolutely open to the thought process of Rio not being ready. But I'm not open to the thought process of Rio not being ready and us not signing a player because we don't want to block the pathway. Because that's writing off a year. That's a season where we're understocked in the attacking side of things. And on top of that, we went into the season with 6 attackers. Chiesa, who the manager doesn't trust. Gakpo, who's having an up and down season. Salah, who has been, again, up and down and has a tumultuous relationship with Salah. Isak, who's been pretty much injured. And Ekitike has been a breath of fresh air. So unless you're going to start utilising your own options, you're bound to pick up injuries. Even between Rio and Chiesa not getting games, you're down to 4 to fill 3 positions. You're bound to get injuries. Where are we? Sorry, I'm playing catch up on comments. This one. So they won't sack the manager and say he has their backing according to journalists, but won't back him in January. Makes sense. I can't say whether signings won't be made or may not be made in January. I don't know if that's down to not... Because... the whole idea of a sporting director and a head coach is that the head coach just coaches players. And the sporting director sets the philosophy of the football club. And that philosophy would also come down to signings. So, we want the team to play in this manner. The coach is brought in to coach the players in this manner. And we want players that will play in this system. So, what I would imagine would happen was usually there would be a group of names put to the manager. They'd all have a conversation. And then we told this is A, B, C, and D. So, Hughes probably... I don't think backing or not backing Garner would make a difference whether they sign a centre-back or not. Or any players in January. Because it undermines the whole reason for a sporting director if you do that. Now, if this was Klopp, it would be a different conversation. But Arne's a head coach. The sporting director decides on the playing squad. He will, of course, chat with the manager and they will run the rule over the players' pros and cons. But it's a sporting director's job to set the football philosophy of a club so that if the coach does get taken out, for whatever reason, whether the coach quits, they're not good enough, whatever, the impact on the football club isn't as dramatic as somebody like Jurgen, who was all-encompassing, who was taking care of this and that and the other. You're a head coach. So this is your role. You're a head coach. You coach. And then I, the football sporting director, will set the philosophy from underage levels all the way through the football club as the Liverpool way. That's at least the theory behind it. So no, I don't think it really has too much to do with not backing Slot or not. I would dare say it's more to do with them feeling that they can hold their nerve till the summer if they feel they've got that gentleman's agreement with Gay and that Gomez will get fit again and will find a way to get through. But I still think the Konate situation undermines that because you don't have that commitment. Allow me to be your second source, Craig. Thundercats Litterbox will be available at season's end. I watch lots of YouTube, so we'll cook next season. There you go. I don't know how that equates to you being my second source on something, mate, but I do love your account name, as you know. Itachi said, Wirtz, Kirkes, Ekitike are clicking on the left. Hope we say with that no winger system, it fits our new signings. I think you've left one name out there. I think you could throw Curtis Jones' name in there as well. But you're right, that left side in the first half looked really good. Kirkes, Wirtz, they did look like they were connecting and playing really well together down that side. Far better than Wirtz, far better than Gakpo and Kirkes. So I agree with you on that, but I would just throw Curtis Jones' name into the mix there as well, because I thought in that first half, he did a lot of the good work going forward as well. Your poll, Craig, I swear to God, I vividly remember all of us expecting at least 1-2 trophies. Let's not move the goalpost now and just accept top 5. You're right. And this is why I keep pushing back against a lot of people, mate, who say, but, the expectation from all of us in the summer was trophies and competing across all the competitions. And I know everything is fluid and your expectations move along with the season accordingly. But for me, just getting a Champions League spot should be fireable. I'd have fired him already. I've said this. For me, the PSV game, the Forest game, that was it. Gone. Bye. Arrivederci. Adios. Off you pop. Because how... I feel like I'm going to shout again. How can we, as a fan base, in any way, just gloss over that we, Liverpool Football Club, the most successful club in the history of English football, lost 3 games in a row by 3 goals or more? 2 of them at home. Don't let that leave your mind. That happened to us, Liverpool. We've lost 4-1, 3-0, 4-1, 3-0 in a row. That is not acceptable. It should never... Hodgson should have been sacked for that shit. So, I don't know how all of a sudden... Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how all of a sudden some of this is acceptable. Ian said, love the show, but really want to give Slot every chance to make this work, even though I hate watching monotonous passing. And mate, I commend you for that, Ian. And I've no issues, bro, with people like Stu is another one in the chat that I would, have a very differing opinion with. But I love you want the manager to do well, Ian. I do, and I love that you want to give him every opportunity. And if I seen something, Ian, that I thought it was trending that way, I would. So there's been 2 things this season for me, Ian, and I'm not sure if you remember seeing these, but I said the thing that would worry me most about the manager is if I thought the players had stopped playing for him. And there were points where I did think that, but the Villa and Real Madrid games put that out of my mind. And I do think the players are playing for the manager, or at least a good majority of them are. But I don't think anyone truly believes in what he's doing, because I don't think anybody truly knows what he's doing. Like, again, simple factor, describe Arne Slot's Liverpool in 3 or 4 sentences. And that's the big no for me, Ian. We can't do that. You and I can't sit here and talk about a philosophy or an identity, because we don't have one at the minute. Apart from not being able to see out 2-goal leads comfortably, we don't have an identity. And he's been forced into finding solutions, not because of his own disbelief in his system, but because of the sheer lack of availability of players and the outspoken nature of what Mo said. So some of this change hasn't come about because he's had a eureka moment. It's been because these things have been forced on him. So this is 90% Arne's last season here. Am I right? Well, I can give you that number, can I? Because I don't know if we win a Champions League or not. What I can say to you is, if we don't win the Champions League, I think that number would be higher than 90. If you lose the Champions League final, I don't know how that shapes up in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. But, yeah. I feel like, I think... I mean, is it not evident that the contract talks are gone? So, like, does that not give you an indication that the belief really isn't there? Because the contract talks were being spoken about from the start of the season onwards, as Liverpool and Arne Slot were in negotiations to extend this deal. And Liverpool have been massively impressed by Arna since he's come in. Not heard a peep about that since, have you? That's all dried up. And why would that be? Because they're not idiots. They know that we haven't kicked on and we haven't pushed on. And they are as concerned as you and I are. And I don't think they want to sack anyone mid-season. I can kind of understand that to an extent as well. But I'd be concerned if, let's say, Nagelsmann came in. Because that would be after a World Cup. And we'd have a shorter pre-season, shorter time to work on a philosophy. I'd like somebody who would be ready to go, to come to work as soon as the season's over. I know the players will be on holidays and the World Cup will be on, but I'd want them putting plans in place, assessing the squad, watching footage, doing all this other stuff. So, the question we have running as a poll question at the minute is, if we win no cup but get Champions League qualification, what happens? And the three answers we have are, let Slotsy out his final year, sack him in the summer, or give him a new deal. So if you can, please vote on that. Which vote was which? Is it this one? Yeah. So again, I want to just highlight this young man, Adam Duffy. Thank you so much, by the way, to everyone who has made donations to the GoFundMe, as he's gone over 51% of the way there. He needs to raise €3,500 from himself, his twin, the coaches, and his dad to go over to represent Ireland at the European Championships to defend his title. He is a multi-time national champion. He is a 16-year-old kid sitting his final exams in school and one of the most promising MMA stars in this country. But unfortunately, Sport Ireland have no funding for mixed martial arts. So to go over to defend that European title, he needs to raise €3,500. We managed to put in €1,000 to kick it off from our community. Others have jumped in as well. And if you can help out, please do, because I'm telling you, you will know this young man's name in the future. And you'll be able to play a small part in allowing this kid to fulfill his potential and get there. He is the real deal. I'll bring him on for an interview one evening so you can talk with him, ask him questions. This kid is legit. He gets up every morning, 5:30, running, lifting weights, going to school. And I know this because he's messaging me. Comes home from school, straight back into the gym. At the weekend, works labouring on a building site to get the money for nutrition. So what I'm trying to do and hoping to do is find a way that I can get him supplements directly from a supplier that will come on board to help him out. This kid has trained with McGregor. This kid has trained with Ian Gary. This kid is up in SBG quite a bit. This kid is known about as a real contender and happens to live in my hometown. So if you can, please do help a small bit if you can to get Adam over there, because when he brings back that medal, and you'll see him in his with his Anfield Agenda logo on, yeah, I'm so impressed with him as a young man. I got the pleasure to meet his dad the other day as well. Yeah, this dude's so zoned in, man. I wish I was as focused at his age on my future as I was. Maybe I may have made it as a keeper, but this kid, I think this kid gets to the UFC. I do. Why won't McGregor help him out? Do you want the real answer to that? Okay, there's part of this I don't know if I'm allowed to say publicly or not. But Adam fought in the World Championships in, I don't know if it was Abu Dhabi or Dubai, a couple of years ago, and got robbed in the final and lost the final and got runner-up. But Conor gave 10 grand to make sure that they could go over. He gave 10 grand for the team, the coach, and them to go over and focus for the World Championships. So he has helped. Now, there was another part of that that's not my place to say about Conor, about some of the pushback on that. It's like, what? Well, you helped him, why didn't you help him? Or you helped him, why didn't you help him? But Conor's been really good to this kid. He has. I don't know McGregor. I've never spoken to the man, but I know for a fact that he has been nothing but supportive of Adam, and did give 10 grand so they could go to fight in the World Championships. So, that's, fair enough. Itachi said, I'd love Jabi. Kevin Keegan, how are you, mate? Thank you. Dave or Dahi said, Slot has mismanaged this squad. Mr. Keegan said, it's Maurizio Pochettino. The guy that I'm talking about, oh, it definitely isn't. It definitely isn't Maurizio Pochettino. My God. Oh, mate, I'd be scared if Pochettino's even in the frame for our job. No, it isn't Pochettino. I think our fitness training needs questions. It does look like we're struggling to maintain fitness levels during games. Yeah, which is nuts because we used to top those charts, but we are we are. Look, in theory, you want to make the ball do the work, right? So if you can move the ball and let them chase you around, yes, you make the ball do the work. But you still need to put in the effort to press and win the ball back high up the pitch and do simple things. And some of those things we're just not seeing. But more than anything, I think there's a mental weakness that's crept into this team that's never been there before. So whatever we think about Arne now, or whatever we think about the team now, ask yourself this question. In the 9 years that Jurgen Klopp managed our football club, did you ever for one fucking second doubt that those players lacked any belief? Ever. Because I didn't. And they lived that. We call them mentality monsters. They turned around a 3-0 deficit to beat Barcelona. They never knew when they were beaten. They always kept going. There was no weakness mentally in that team. Now all of a sudden, we're all over the place with 2-0 leads. That's one of the biggest concerns for me, is how has this weakness or vulnerability crept into the mental side of our game? And that's where it comes to man management to me. Hell, Stu said, like divorced parents, we love the same thing, you argue. It's alright though, dude, because we do it in a way that's respectful on both sides. And, we both want the same thing. We both want Liverpool to be successful. We just have different tolerances of what we think is okay and not. But everyone that comes in here every night comes in here because we all want Liverpool to do well. I mean, the Liverpool fans that come in. We come in because we all want Liverpool to do well and we all want to hear positive news and we all want to talk about how we may change this and move in a better direction. Everybody has the best of intent to come in. Which is why I love the openness of the chat that we have. Whether I agree with you or not, we all do want the best for our club. We all love the club dearly. This Slot team isn't turning no 3-0 scoreline around. Isn't that quite telling in itself? Because I'm not thinking that Ekitike's a mental weakling or Wirtz is a mental weakling. I'm not trying to say it's the new players that have come in that are causing this weakness one bit. Because we brought in quality. We brought in Wirtz and Frimpong, who had an invincible season. So I don't know where this has crept in, but I know it's been allowed to creep in, and that in itself concerns me. Because one of the things that we were all so proud of with Jurgen Klopp was that brilliant book by Paul Tompkins and that phrase, mentality monsters. It was, we never gave up. As Mo's t-shirt said, we never gave up. We never felt sorry for ourselves. We never looked beaten. It was, we go again. We go again. We pick ourselves up. We go again. I don't see the same thing anymore. I would like a real honest interview where they tell us exactly what's going on, what the plans are, and what we should try to do to fix it. I'd love that as well. I'm techie, but I don't think a football club are ever going to give us that level of transparency. But you know what I would love a bit more of? And this isn't the first time I've said it on the channel. Do you remember when we did announce Arne as the new head coach and Richard Hughes sat by him and, you know, they both spoke with the media? I'd love that more often, because as much as I'm a believer that Arne isn't ultimately going to cut it, I do think he's been hung out to dry at times. I don't think he has been... I think he's been thrown under the bus a little bit, where he's been asked questions that aren't his to answer. So I'd like to see once or twice a month Richard Hughes sit on in the press conference alongside Arne. And, you know, because Arne's been asked about transfers and budgets and lots of other stuff that, whilst he has a say in, ain't his pay grade. So, you know, and I know on the continent, in German football and elsewhere, you will often see a sporting director addressing the media and answering questions. So that is one thing I think the club could and should do better, because Arne shouldn't be asked any questions that aren't his pay grade to answer. It's like asking a nurse how a surgeon's going to do this particular procedure. You know, the nurse is very good at making sure that they look after their patients and that, you know, everybody's safe and, you know, practices are done correctly, but there's an expertise at one thing that a surgeon would have. And Richard Hughes is the sporting director. It's his job to bring in players, to negotiate contracts, to, you know, deal with some of the financial aspects of the club. But they're working the shadows. We never see them. We never see them in front of camera. So yeah, I do feel like Slot gets thrown under the bus a little bit. Ian said, I know you're right, but just and don't like the style of play. Really respect your hunger for Liverpool to do well. I'm also worried about really bad management because it really hurts. So I think, Ian, that hunger from us wanting to do well comes from the fact that, and I don't know what age your good self is, but mate, I'm 44, and I grew up in Manchester United's era, you know, and a lot of my mates were United fans, Arsenal fans, and, you know, it was them and Arsenal for a long time. Then Mourinho came in, and then Pep came in. So I don't want sporadic success. I want an era for us that we can sit back and say, this was Liverpool's era. You know? And my thought process in the summer was that the reason John W. Henry, Tom Werner, Mike Gordon and co. were willing to invest what they did into the playing squad was because, of course, the ability to do it was there. But also, I thought they smelled blood in the water. I thought that they sensed the weakening of the City situation. I thought that they said, we are now, after improving the capital structure of the club, building the stands, the training ground, increasing the commercial partnerships, we're now going to push on, go big in the market, and have this era. An era of, it isn't the Liverpool and City era, it's the Liverpool era. And it's that disappointment, mate, that haunts me now. Because I'm delighted that we've won 2 league titles in the last 30 years. But I'm frustrated as hell at how poorly we've defended both of them. And real dynasties are built off back-to-back successes. City, won 4 in a row? I've yet, as a 44-year-old man, watching the most successful team in English football history, yet to see my club defend a league title. Now, I know it was done when I was a kid, but I don't remember it. And that's where I'm at. That's my expectation. That you won it, you've improved with star players. Now go and perform, man. So it's when I hear excuses from the media, from the manager, from others, it just doesn't sit well with me. Because as the real Johnny Sins Hate said earlier on, it's revisionism from what the target was. And greatness and winning, it's a mindset and it's a habit. It's a damn hard habit to get to. But when you get there, you have to keep it. We talk about standards at our football club. They're all buzzwords that Virgil uses, that Arna uses, that everyone uses. Well, if you have standards, you aren't fucking partying in Ibiza before the season's over. You aren't celebrating a league title like a tin pot club that won something they weren't expecting to win. You're not jibbing off the last few games of the year. You're not fucking off to Dubai in October off the back of 3 losses and then come back and lose to United. None of that hits the standards of success and dynasties, because that involves sacrifice, hardship, never switching off, never letting the levels drop. That's where your James Milners of this world came into it. You know? That's why I'm annoyed, mate. That's why I'm disappointed this season. Because this was supposed to be our dynasty. This was supposed to be our era. And we're being really shortchanged with that. And I'm seeing too many things that are going and being accepted that shouldn't be. Losing the League Cup final to Newcastle was not good enough. Not because they didn't deserve to win it. They were the better team on the day and they fully deserved to win it. But it's not fucking good enough that we didn't win it. It's not good enough that you top the Champions League format and go out in the first knockout stage. It's not good enough that you lose to Plymouth Argyle in the FA Cup. So winning the league was great. But since that, it's been one fuck up after another. And I'm not wrong. This shit show started at the end of last season and carried on. The Echo wrote a piece a few weeks ago that said over in Hong Kong and Japan, they watched as Liverpool went through set pieces, throw-ins, corners, and then threw it in the bin. I didn't write that, they did. They watched as Liverpool went through to set up for throw-ins, corners, set pieces, and to come up with a new attack and angle for the season, and then decided against pursuing that and went a different direction, and lo and behold, we come back in the Premier League as a more physical one and a more set-piece driven league than there has been in a long time. So the reason you see this anger in me, particularly towards these journalists, is I know they don't believe a lot of the shit they write. Because I know that that isn't the truth. I'm not saying they're intentionally lying to you, but I'm saying they're intentionally writing stuff that they themselves are questioning. And then we're all supposed to believe this narrative. We should be winning more silverware than we do. And the fact we're not talking about defending our league title right now hurts me bad. Because all we've gotten is a lack of respect. You won the worst Premier League title in years. You won a COVID title. And go back to watch me in the summer. And I said it so many times. I want Liverpool to go back to back to shut every one of those fuckers up. Every one of those begrudging bastards that wouldn't have the decency to acknowledge Liverpool winning a Premier League title. So I wanted us to go back to back so we can ram it down their throat. And I've also said, and I've said this over and over again, if Arsenal win the league title, I won't in any way undermine their league title. Because I have class, despite what some opposition fans think about me. I have sporting class. I will congratulate them on a well-earned league title if they win it, because they've deserved it. But I wanted so badly for us to be able to ram it back down their throats. Because I'm sick of our football club being run through the dirt at times. I'm sick of the way the Isak stuff was portrayed in the media as if he's the only fucking footballer to ever do it, or others that year weren't doing it like Gyökeres and Johan Visa. I'm sick of the underhanded snidey bullshit. I'm sick of people thinking they can rinse our club. It hurts me. Arsenal will probably win the league title with a number that we've hit multiple times under Jurgen and not won the league with. And it would be so easy for me to say to them what they said to us. Oh, well, you won a poor quality league title. But it doesn't matter. You win a league, you win the league. So yeah, it means a lot to me. Yeah, it hurts me. Yes, I get angry. Because the club and the city mean more to me than I can ever explain. Because I'm connected in a way that I can't explain to myself. And I will forever defend the football club and the people of the city of Liverpool against any bullshit, any undermining, any lies, any crap that gets thrown at them. Because we, they deserve better. Deserve better. Imagine sitting on a channel like AFTV halfway through a season when the world is gripped in a COVID epidemic and sitting there wanting the fucking league null and voided just so Liverpool don't win it. What type of classless, petty bullshit is that? And then have the cheek to call yourself football fans. And then we've got others celebrating Isak's injury. Celebrating it. And these fuckers want to talk to me about class and make videos talking about me. Each and every one of them should look in the mirror. Oliver said other teams sign when they need it. Liverpool just hope for the best. Mate, you're right. You're right. And we've a history of it. And the more alarming part is we've a history of it not working out. So you look at Ozan Kabak, Ben Davies, didn't work out. You look at Arthur Melo, didn't work out. So yeah, you're right. Trying to use the sticking plaster, cheap options doesn't work for us. So I've seen things linking us to players like, where's the one from yesterday? 1 second. Gonzalo Ramos of Paris Saint-Germain. Liverpool are considering a surprise 6-month loan move for PSG striker Gonzalo Ramos. Why are we wasting money on loan moves again? Why are we even thinking about it? Go get somebody that you want for the future and get it done now. Because you're admitting we're light. But you're also admitting you're looking for a stick and plaster option. And that's not good enough. Rain said, they say the Champions League was against Spurs. They don't say who we beat to face Spurs. Exactly. 100%. Even to this day, Mourinho won't concede that Garcia goal. It's things like that that drive me demented. Because if you're a sports person, you lose and you accept defeat with grace and you shake your opponent's hand and you congratulate them on their win. That's what sports people do. So if Arsenal win the league, I'll be on here to congratulate them with every bit of sincerity because they deserve it. I just wish the same would apply. Because, like I said, we booed Trent. I say we because I'm talking about our fan base. Some people inside Anfield booed Trent. It was everywhere. Couldn't fucking move for it. Liverpool being rinsed. TalkSport everywhere. Liverpool boo Trent. Boo fucking who? How many times this season have you heard United booed off, Spurs booed off, City booed off? Not a fucking dicky bird. Not a mention of it anywhere. It's like everybody is just sitting there waiting. Waiting to take cheap shots at us. Waiting. Where are we at? We had to beat Bayern, Porto and Barcelona to get to the Champions League final 2019 before we won it. Yep. We had to beat Barcelona from being 3-0 down. 3-0 down. Against a team with just superstars in it. We had no Salah, no Firmino. But we had hope and courage. And they went out there and they did it. That's why I always say, to me, that game is the most special. That is the one that sticks with me as my favourite Liverpool memory of a game. Because I knew damn well we'd won the Champions League that night. Didn't matter whether it was Spurs, Ajax or whoever else. We'd won the Champions League that night. Because that was our destiny. When we fulfilled that moment, that was it. Won. Sorry, I just wanted to take a minute to reflect on that for a sec because so many people want to take cheap shots at our club and Liverpool as a city. And it like the Feed the Scousers chant. How many times have you heard that over Christmas? I've heard it twice at United games that I'm aware of. Arsenal fans were singing it against Everton at the Hill Dickinson. Like, what the fuck is that? Feed the Scousers, let them know it's Christmas time. I could sit here and give you an hour on why that's pathetic. But what does it matter? Let's say they're right and Liverpool's a poor city. Let's say that they are, and it is. Should that be mocked? Should that be brought into football? Your son or your daughter that you're at the game with, you want them on your shoulder singing Feed the Scousers? You want your kids growing up to think it's okay to mock somebody who may be a bit less fortunate than you financially? That's okay? It doesn't matter who you are. Human decency and respect's important. And people deserve fucking dignity. And to go on there and sing about this shit, it's just silly. It's just silly, pathetic, uninspired bollocks. I wouldn't wish hunger or poverty on any family from any part of the world, from any religion, country, national, whatever. I couldn't fuck. I want everyone to be loved, happy, and healthy. I don't understand some of these scumbags that sing this shit and then have the cheek to talk about football, class, dignity. Also, Craig, the stupid Liverpool comments were pathetic. How many times have we lost games because of the refs? Oh, yeah, man. So many of those. So many of those. They wound me up something fierce. Liverpool, and yet we're here screaming about the Luis Diaz goal at Spurs, that being robbed. Jeremy Doku kicking Mackett in the chest. Odegaard going full handball. And we're supposed to be the Liverpool. Yeah, I don't know where they get that from. And they say that the Liverpool fan base is toxic. I think our fan base is incredible. I really do. Like, yeah, I really do. I've nothing but respect for our fan base. I think that most football fan bases are all right, but there's always just a few, and the tribal mentality can kick in quite quickly in certain situations with a song or something silly like that. Sonder said verse showing is class today. Ekatike 2. Let me just grab that comment, bro. For some reason this isn't loading for me. One sec. I don't know why that hasn't loaded for me, Sonder. Sorry, mate. Let me just check. Is it coming in this side either? Let me sign out and back in. Sorry, I'm on our back end system, mate. I'm going to try and sign back out and back in to see why this isn't working for you, because I can't bring it up on screen. Yeah, I don't know why, man. It's not coming through for me. Sorry. Anyway, I'll read it out. It says, Wirtz showing his class again today, Ekatike 2. Thank you, mate. And sorry I can't bring it up on screen. I've no idea what's going on there, why it stopped working. But I can't bring it up. If there's any other super chats I missed, do let me know, because I didn't realise the back end system wasn't bringing them up. L Stew said stream token. Well done, mate. Thank you. Appreciate you. Why are they not coming up? Let me try it this side. Okay. 1 sec. Let me try it this way. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me read it out this way. So, Paul Daly. Welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, Paul. Joey, I think I missed yours as well. That said, hey Craig, I'm late. What are the rumours, my mate? On transfers, there's not much other than Man City wanting to get the Semenyo deal done quickly. There is some talk that unless something drastic happens this season, that the manager won't survive past the summer. Is there any other ones I've missed? Give this away, mate, said El Stew. Thank you. I think that's the rest of them. And then Julio Cesar. Let me try this one more time, see if that works. Said, appreciate using your platform and speaking about things like that and standing up for the less fortunate. Thank you, my man. I'll tell you why. It's because I was one of them. I've said this before. I was on my arse, mate. I had nothing. You know, we had nowhere to live. We were in debt. We hadn't got a shilling. And somebody was kind enough to help me out at the time. And that's why I'm so adamant that we as a community keep trying to help others and give back. Because there's plenty we could mock each other about from a footballing perspective. You know, we could talk about how, I don't know, how shit Liverpool are at progressing the ball through the lines. You could talk about how bad United are at putting the ball in the back of the net. There's so many things we can banter each other about. But poverty should never be on the table for humour in any way, shape or form. Right. Oh my God, lads. 2 hours has absolutely flown by. So can I just spend a couple of minutes finishing up, just going through a few things that I'd like to talk about, if I can. Firstly, as the year comes to an end, it's been a remarkable year that from the 1st of January I couldn't have expected for a channel. This year's changed my own potential future in life. I'm about to buy our family home. And that was our dream from day one. Now, when I say buy it, I mean get the mortgage on it, but it's close to happening. The office is close to being built. I've bought my first ever brand new car. These are things that without your incredible support, I wouldn't be able to do and would never have been able to do. So, whatever you think of me, whatever we've agreed or disagreed on, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I will do everything in my power every day I'm here to repay the kindness and faith that you've shown me and to try to represent the community that you're a part of with dignity and respect. I won't always achieve that, but I will promise you this. The times I do fuck up, I will put my hands up and own it. I love you all dearly, and I don't throw around the word love a lot. I don't throw it around. But what you guys have done for me on a human level, from an emotional, a mental health, and a confidence level, has changed me for the better. And if I stop doing this tomorrow, I'll be a better person because of what you've allowed me to become as a human being without judgment. And thank you for that. Thank you so much. And who knows what 2026 has in store. I hope it's a good one for us. I hope it's a good one for Liverpool. I hope it's a good one for the channel. But I just wanted to take a moment to say that because we don't always agree. But I've got a couple of firsts this Christmas. For the first time in my life, Sabrina's father said he was proud of me the other day. And it hit me really hard because, you know, I'm married to his daughter, and it's my job to make sure his daughter's safe and well. And for all the things that my own dad did for me and said he loved me every day, I was never told he was proud of me. I'm not saying he was a negative person, but you guys say to me all the time, and you guys give me belief to do things and try things that I never thought I'd be capable of. So thank you all for being the best community I could have hoped for on this journey that started from a place of loneliness, But I hope ends in a place of positivity and with a legacy of giving back from all of us. So, yeah, thank you. Much love forever. I'm going to head off now and grab a shower because I stink. And I'm literally, if there was smell-o-vision now, you'd be. But yeah, thank you all. I know I get soppy, but it's because you mean a lot to me. And you've made my son look at me like a hero. And as a father, I can never, and my daughter, of course. So yeah, love you to bits. See you tomorrow. I won't be around till 8:45, 8:30 tomorrow. Connor will be filling you in with an early video. I've got some stuff I've got to do during the day tomorrow, but I will be back here tomorrow night for a late night agenda. To each and every one of your families, have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for your support. Do drop that like for me before you head off if you can. And yeah, thank you. We'll see you soon. Bye.